Did you know that if you don't deal with your repressed emotions, then they can affect all areas of your life? I'm Dr. Maisha, and I'm here to talk to you today about the consequences of when we don't address the unconscious negative thoughts, beliefs, and emotional patterns in our lives. So you might be wondering, how do the unconscious negative thoughts, how do the unconscious emotions actually impact us in the present? Consider that we walk around each day with billions and millions of bits of information coming at us all at the same time, and we experience the world in the way we experience it. And our brain can only process so much. And so, especially if you're a high performing professional, the first thing that tends to be pushed by the wayside is our emotions. But the problem with that is, if we don't address the emotions as they come in some healthy way, form, or fashion, then what happens is they become repressed, they become buried, and then they go into the unconscious where they're running in the background. So you can imagine when you have your phone and you download a bunch of apps on your phone. Now, when you buy your phone initially, it's clean, it's clear, it has no apps, it has an abundance of potential, and the battery life lasts for a long time. But the more apps that you put on your phone, the more apps that you allow to run in the background without controlling the notifications, controlling the way that they run, the more it slows your phone down and the more it drains your battery life. Well, that's the same thing that happens when we allow the unconscious thoughts, unconscious emotions to go unaddressed. What happens is, when you stuff the emotions and you continue to stuff the emotions, then they have to come out somewhere. Imagine stuffing a trash can. You're stuffing the trash can, you're putting the junk in, you're putting the trash in, you continue to put the trash in, you never empty the trash. What eventually happens? That trash overflows and it begins to stink up everything around it. This is what happens when we repress our emotions. They eventually have to come out somewhere, and either you're going to explode them out somewhere, or they're going to be leaking out over time, impacting your business, your relationships, your career, your family, your parenting, every area of life. And how can we be a model to our children if we're not addressing our own unconscious beliefs? What we're doing, in fact, is we're taking those beliefs and we're imparting them unconsciously onto the people around us. So how then do we begin to address these unconscious thoughts? Because, well, let's face it, they're unconscious and you don't know what it is that you don't know. The first thing to do is to reconnect with your emotions. Now, some of you might be saying, well, it's been a long time since I've reconnected my emotions, and I might not even have a sense of what emotion is what. And I understand that because I used to be that way. One of the things that you can do is to get an emotions chart and begin to look at the different emotions. And I recommend an emotions chart that has faces on it, okay? And it may sound trite, it may sound a little corny, but you'd be surprised that when you look at those faces and you begin to connect the internal sensation with the representation, the picture representation, how your brain will then connect with what the right identification of emotion is for you. Okay? Now, of course, in order to be able to connect the representation with the internal feeling, you have to begin to notice the sensations that are happening, the kinesthetic sensations that are happening in your body, and begin to just become aware of those sensations. Whether they mean anything or not is not the point, but to connect with them. And then if you're feeling some kind of way, then you might take out that feelings chart and then you might identify what that kinesthetic feeling represents on the page. And the more you practice that, the more you'll get present to what the emotion is that you're feeling at any given moment. Okay, so that's the first thing. Get connected with your body and then get connected with the emotion that kinesthetic feeling represents. The next thing is to begin to express the emotion. And here's the thing, if you're the kind of person that is conflict avoidant, like I am, then sometimes at first it may feel like you're fumbling over your words when you try to express those emotions. But the more you practice expressing it, the better you'll become. And one way that works for me to express difficult emotions is to preface it by saying, okay, I'm feeling some kind of way and I need to talk through it in order to really be able to clearly articulate what it is that I'm feeling. So when you do that, it gives yourself the space to fumble through it at first without feeling embarrassed or ashamed that you can't communicate it in a direct and streamlined fashion. And so expressing it, practice expressing the emotion, whether it's joy, a positive emotion like joy or happiness, or a negative emotion like fear or sadness or anger. You want to be able to express the full range of emotions. This is the foundation of developing emotional intelligence, all right? And then you just want to practice those two things. Practice the identification and the expression. Those are the first two steps to take. And when you begin to do that, you may find that layers will begin to surface. And that may be time to reach out to someone, whether it be a coach or someone who's facilitated in the work of the unconscious mind like myself, or whether it be a certified therapist, someone who also may deal with trauma or deal with healing past hurt and pain. Connect with someone who can help you to peel back those layers inside of a safe space so that you can begin to heal those old wounds. Now, the way I do it is through neurolinguistic programming, and it is a way that helps people to connect to their unconscious mind so that you can rewire those old thoughts and emotion and negative belief patterns at a deeper level and experience permanent, long-lasting change in your life. Remember, it's not healthy to bury these unconscious emotions. They will affect your business, your relationships, your parenting, and your overall ability to grow in life. Look forward to seeing you on the next video.